This is Sports Vogue, where we break down the football stories everyone is searching for. Here's a number that should bother you. The Premier League has been running for 34 seasons, and in all that time it has produced exactly 7 different champions. 7. And it gets worse, because just 4 clubs own 30 of those 34 titles between them. The league sells itself as the most unpredictable competition on the planet, the place where anyone can beat anyone, and on a random Saturday that is genuinely true. But zoom out to May, year after year, and the same names lift the same trophy in an almost perfect rotation. In this video, I will show you exactly why that happens, why the 2 clubs who ever crashed the party prove the rule instead of breaking it, and what happened to the last gate crasher. That last part is brutal. First, let us be fair about what the Premier League gets right, because the illusion works for a reason. On any single weekend, chaos is real. A promoted side beats a giant in the rain. A team assembled for pennies presses a super club off the pitch for 90 minutes. That happens, genuinely, more here than in any other big league. And it is why the whole world watches. But a title is not won on a weekend. A title is 38 matches, 10 months, injuries, squad depth, a bad November, a run of 3 away games in a week. Chaos evens out over a season, and what is left when the noise cancels is the underlying machine, the size of the squad, the quality of the bench, the wage bill. The weekend belongs to anyone. The season belongs to the rich. And that split is the whole trick of this league. Now the numbers, because they are genuinely absurd. 34 seasons. Manchester United, 13 titles. Manchester City, 8. Chelsea, 5. Arsenal, 4, including the one they lifted this May. Liverpool, 2. And then the outliers, Blackburn Rovers, 1. And Leicester City, 1. That is the complete list. 7 names in 34 years, and 2 of them only ever managed it once. Compare that to the 20 years before the Premier League existed. In that stretch, the champions of England included Derby County, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Everton and Leeds. Provincial clubs, promoted clubs, clubs run on gate receipts, genuinely taking the biggest prize in the country. Dominance existed back then too. Liverpool won 11 titles in 18 seasons, but the door was open, and outsiders kept walking through it. Then 1992 happened, and the door quietly closed. So what actually changed? Television. The Premier League was invented for one reason, so the biggest clubs could keep more of the broadcast money that was about to explode. And explode it did. The league became the most watched sporting competition on earth, beamed into hundreds of countries, and the money followed the eyeballs. Now, to its credit, the league splits its domestic television money more evenly than almost anyone else, and that is exactly why weekends stay chaotic. Even the smallest club here is rich by European standards. But the title does not run on television money alone. It runs on everything stacked on top. Global sponsorships, colossal stadiums, worldwide shirt sales, Champions League prize money, and that stack is not shared. That stack belongs to a handful of clubs, and it is the exact height of the wall between them and everyone else. Here is the closest thing football has to a law of physics. Over time, the league table tracks the wage table. Study after study finds the same thing. The correlation is not perfect in any single season, and the Premier League actually has the most week-to-week variance of the big leagues. A giant on an enormous wage bill can stumble to mid-table. A brilliantly run, small club can sneak into Europe. Those seasons make headlines precisely because they are rare. But stretch the sample to 5 seasons, 10 seasons, 30, and the pattern is merciless. The clubs that pay the most finish highest. Not because money kicks the ball, but because money buys depth. And depth is what survives February. One injury at a small club is a crisis. One injury at a giant is a chance for the other £100 million of talent on the bench. Now here is the engine that keeps it spinning. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Call it the flywheel. Win the title, and you qualify for the Champions League, which pays a fortune. That fortune buys better players. Better players attract global sponsors because brands want their name on the shirt the whole world watches. Sponsor money buys even better players, who win the league again, which means more Champions League money, and around it goes. The Giants' commercial income, the sponsorships and partnerships alone, runs at roughly 8 times what the rest of the league earns, and their matchday income at more than 5 times. Every rotation of the wheel widens the gap. A challenger does not just need to beat the Giants on the pitch, It needs to outrun a machine that has been compounding season after season for 30 years. And the machine comes with a safety net, which might be the most unfair part of all. When a giant has a disaster season, and they do, we have watched a super club with one of the biggest wage bills in the sport finish in the bottom half. Nothing actually breaks. The sponsors stay, the stadium stays full, the television money keeps flowing, and next summer they simply spend again. A bad year costs them embarrassment. When a small club overachieves, the machine punishes them for it. Their best players get bought by the giants, with the giants' Champions League money. Their manager gets poached. And if they gamble on wages to keep the dream alive and it goes wrong, they do not get embarrassment. They get relegation, and sometimes they get ruin. The giants play with a net. Everyone else plays over concrete. Remember that line, because it is about to get very real. Only 2 clubs outside the cartel have ever won this league, so let us take them one at a time, because they tell you everything. 1995, Blackburn Rovers. A romantic story on the surface, a small Lancashire town beating the giants. Except, Blackburn did not beat the money. Blackburn were the money. A local steel millionaire, Jack Walker, poured his personal fortune into the club, smashed the British transfer record for Alan Shearer, and effectively bought the title in the league's 3rd season, before the flywheel had fully spun up. It worked exactly once. The Giants' machine caught up within a couple of years, Blackburn slid down the table, and by the end of the decade they were relegated. The first exception to the rule was not a fairy tale at all. It was a preview. The lesson was simple. You do not outplay this league. You outspend it, or you lose. The second exception is the one the league will dine out on forever. 2016, Leicester City. 5,000 to 1 odds, the 4th lowest wage bill in the division, about £37 million, a squad of rejects and lower league bargains, a manager everyone laughed at. They lost 3 matches all season and won the title in their 132nd year of existence. It remains the single greatest sporting upset most of us will ever see, and if you love football, that season is why. But hold on to the key detail. For Leicester to win 1 title, everything had to go wrong for 6 giant clubs at once, in the same season, while every gamble at one small club came off simultaneously. The miracle needed a full solar eclipse of the entire cartel. That is not a crack in the system, that is the exact measurement of how strong the system is. Now the ending they do not put on the murals. This April, almost 10 years to the week after that title, Leicester City were relegated to League One, the 3rd tier of English football. 2 relegations in 2 seasons, champions of England to the 3rd division inside a decade. How? Exactly the way the system is designed. The Giants bought the title winners one by one. The Champions League money dried up after 1 campaign. The club spent to chase the dream it had tasted, fell foul of the spending rules, took points deductions and fire sales, and the flywheel that never stopped spinning for the Giants spun them all the way down. I'm not telling you this to be cruel about Leicester. I am telling you because it is the single most honest fact about the Premier League. The punishment for winning it without permission is that the machine takes everything back with interest. So here is my take, and I'm not going to soften it. The Premier League title race is not a lottery, it is an auction. This May, Arsenal ended 22 years of waiting, 85 points, 7 clear, and it was sold to us as a great romantic surprise. Arsenal, one of the richest clubs in the history of the sport, winning their 4th Premier League. That is what passes for an underdog story at the top of this league now, and honestly, that tells you more than any statistic I have given you. The real football, the genuinely unpredictable stuff, lives everywhere else in the table, the European races, the relegation scraps, the promoted Cubs fighting the odds. The trophy itself belongs to the auction room. So, question for the comments. Will any club outside the Giants win this league in the next 20 years? I say no. And I would love for you to convince me otherwise. That is why the same teams always win this league. If this changed how you watch it, subscribe to Sports Vogue, share this with the mate who still thinks the title race is wide open, and comment which match or player we should break down next. See you in the next one.